Alright, Warcraft. So today, I was talking to some guy about adding custom races to Reforged. So normally if you click play on Reforged, it'll just like open up the game. And inside the game, when you play a custom map, there's only 4 races to play as: the human, orc, night elf, and undead. That's pretty lame. When we make custom games, we want to be able to have more races than that. I'll do single player first. We'll start with single player custom games. So if I go in here and I play Booty Bay, maybe we want to have more custom races or something like that. Where's Booty Bay? All right, how about Ogre Mound? That's just as fine. All right, so if I play this, you can see right now I only have human, orc, night elf, and undead. So we want to add more of those. Why is that hard? That shouldn't be hard, really, but we'll see what we can do. They're not really making it easy for us, but there is, I think, a way that you can do it. So let's go in here. I've got my Redditor Model Studio. I am going to go to this Web UI folder, and I'm going to get the Glue Manager. I don't know, maybe this is a little bit hard for you guys to see, so let me actually change a couple settings here. Try to get things so that the display settings for you guys are easier to see. So that's always pretty useful. It's great if you can see what I'm doing in a video. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now it's going to be a little bit easier to see. That hopefully means that whatever's going on in the Redditor Model Studio over here is easier to see as well. Although it looks like the video of myself is still kind of blocking this. So Glue Manager, it's a JavaScript file. This JavaScript file is the entire interface for Warcraft 3. So you might already have one of these if you have one of those mods like Quenching or W3 Champions or whatever. I don't really have those right now, so for me this is kind of easier. I don't have to integrate with any other mods. And in that world, when I don't have to integrate with any other mods, pretty much then all I need to do is go to Program Files, Warcraft 3, Retail, and make a little folder that's going to mirror what we had over here. So this is going to be a Web UI folder for this local files override. So for those of you who aren't familiar with that, I have the local files override turned on. There's tutorials online on how to do that. It's basically how you mod Reforged. Cool. So because I have that on, I can now edit this Glue Manager file. And what you'll see is that this is less convenient than it should be. We'll see in a second here. I told it to open in Notepad++. I guess it's taking a second to load. Here we go. Great. Notepad++ is being a little silly. It doesn't like this tiny monitor. It's creating troubles. Let me see what I can do. Cool. Okay, so here's this code file. So the problem is this is a really, really long code file, and all the code is on one line. So it's like really hard to do anything with. So this is where what we do is we just select all the code basically, and then copy it. This thing is lagging pretty hard. It would be good if I made this lag less. Yeah, this is just lagging pretty hard. Okay, so that's great. That's lagging pretty hard. But what we want to do is select Control-A this file, get everything in it, even though you can't really see what's in it, and then go on the internet and do a standard internet search for JavaScript formatter. And the concept here is that we're going to find something that's going to format this JavaScript code so you can read it. So we paste it in there, and it's going to lag. But we're just going to click Beautify the Code. This button here, Beautify the Code. We're going to click that, and I think it's probably doing that right now. It's lagging. Yeah, it's like loading for me. So it's in the process of doing that. Don't exit the page, even if it lags. Wait for the page. It's thinking. It's thinking. And what this is going to do is it's going to take the entire interface code of Warcraft 3 and hopefully reproduce it into something that we can actually read. Once you can read it, we can go and edit that drop down. We're just going to just keep clicking wait. Just let this thing go. Cool. See, now you have this giant file, and you can actually see what's in it. And so I'm gonna Control A. It's a select all. You could probably right click and select all as well on there. And then we're gonna copy it. So I'm gonna do like a right click copy, and it still is kind of lagging, but we'll see what we can do. Oh, it ran out of memory. That's horrible. Okay, let's try it again. So I'm gonna paste this thing in here again. Beautify the code. So maybe the right click doesn't work. If we get it on the screen again, I need to just mash Control A to select all and then mash Control C to copy it really fast. Once we do that, then I'm going to be able to go back, paste it into this file, and then try running the game with the code that was like generated here on the web. I guess the other alternative, if you don't feel like doing that, would be to try to just go and find in here, like find the stuff that you want. But it's pretty annoying to do that. Cool. Okay, here it is. Control A, Control C. I've typed it in. We're going to see if it resolves. If it does resolve, then hopefully I'll be able to copy it out of here. No, it doesn't want to let me do that. That kind of sucks. Let's try this one. Let's put it in a new window. That seems smart. Maybe that'll do it. Nope, it didn't work. File is too big. I can't process it. All right. Well, let's see if we can just search like the menus. Nope. So that's kind of unfortunate. I guess what we really want to find in here though is maybe we'll just find whenever I did this the last time and see what we can take away from that. Should be in a backup drive. Here's one where I was doing this. Okay, it doesn't have what I'm looking for though. Maybe this has it. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, great. So maybe we just need to find this thing. Yeah, it's still there. It's just not well formatted. So I guess we'll just have to format it ourselves. Yeah, here we go. This has what you need right there. And we just split these out. right, great. So I'm going to just put in quotes number 5 as a fifth option. And I think this might work, maybe. We'll see. We'll see if I can choose number 5 now. It's supposed to pretty much be like that, where you're adding to the dropdown, but it's very difficult to see in the code if you can't get the formatters to run on it, if it's really doing what you want or not. Yeah, there we go. See, I got number 5 on here. So you can still do that. That's the idea, is you're taking this giant interface file and you're adding that into it. But the harder part is to define what happens when you click number 5. And so that's where in this formatted one that I had before, basically there was a special function that handled this. That is where I put my changes. Maybe we could just search for something about handicap. Yeah, okay, this thing, there is a function that defines, it basically changes what you're getting, and it's changing it now based on some stuff. So let me see if we can find that same thing. Yes, okay, so in this unsorted, hard to read code, you can see there is a function, and this is a function of a thing that will determine what you got. And it gets it based on the settings, and so you can see this is the current one. It's picking based on this index, and then it's picking handicap based on this handicap index. And meanwhile, in this customized one, it picks something based on 2 different things. So we're changing the definition of deciding this value. What is this? E.race. And we're going to decide E.race based on not only E.race from the network, but also E.race from the handicap, E.handicap. And you can tell this is all really difficult and gross because the code is like obfuscated, just changed into a bunch of hard to read words. But obviously the doesn't have to be like that. You know, if you worked at Blizzard, this code is much easier to read. They're just giving us the version that's hard to read. Cool, well I think this works because now we're basically making it that this client race ID drop-down index function takes in handicap to decide the race. So that's important. So we just need to find where that function is defined. And this is my special thing here with handicap hack. So this is the really fun one. So that we need to find that function. Okay, this function right here. This is a lot of equal signs. What is this? Let me find it somewhere else. Equals function. Here we go. Okay, so it is a function that has a switch case. So again, this is kind of hard to read compared to the other one because we didn't get that JavaScript formatter to run because the stupid web pages kept crashing. But I don't know, I guess maybe uploading all the code to a web page is a security hole anyway. So that's kind of nice. Now we don't have to worry about that. Cool. So you can see this is a function that switches if you put in 32, which is random, you get 0. If you get 1, you get 1. If you get 2, you get 2. If you get 8, you get 3. And if you get 4, you get 4. So these are powers of 2 over here, 1, 2, 4, 8. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's already kind of weird. But I think what I realized last time is that if you could get them to give you a value 16, you'd know a 5, and it doesn't work. I don't think I was able to get that to work, which is why I use this handicap hack as an extra argument, and it only has meaning because of that other change we made. So this function this is the function for figuring out what the game client race ID transfers to in a drop-down index and what we're going to see on the screen. And what we want to see on the screen is going to be based on the handicap now. So basically your handicap defines your race. And that's where we're putting more code. So 0 is random, that's fine, we'll keep random random. But outside of random, if you choose case 1, then instead of returning 1, we're going to do this special thing where we say, hey, if the handicap hack is 90, then return 5. Otherwise, return 1. And you could probably actually write some better code than this that would actually not require you to individually specify 5 and 6. So you could probably just do it where you're like, if the handicap hack is 90, return the number plus 4 and apply it to all of them. But whenever I had worked on this example previously, I didn't go that far with it. I was just making sure the concept works. So you can see here that now we're saying if they choose 90, then it'll be 5. If they choose, or if they choose race 1, if they choose race 2 and 90, then it'll be 6. So this should give us 6 drop-down options, but you could do the same to have like a 7 and 8. And so you can see down here where I have number 5, we can actually put number 6 as well, and we should be able to see that work. Where did that just paste that? I thought I just copied it. I don't see it. All right, well, I'm going to put number 5 and number 6 here. So that's nice. But here's the problem with this. We have changed one way of the code. We haven't changed 2 ways. So we're going to open it back up, and I'll show you what I mean and what's still not going to work. And then we'll have to fix it so it does work. Basically, there's 2 steps. When I choose a drop-down option, I want to send to the server that I'm actually choosing a handicap. And when the server sends to me that someone's chosen something, I want to have that action that's happening basically result in me choosing not the handicap that they sent me, but actually the race drop-down. We did the second one. When the server sends us the value, we changed the drop-down based on handicap, but I didn't make it that when I choose the drop-down that I send the server handicap. So in a 2-part process, one of the parts is still not done. Also, it looks like the game isn't opening, which might mean there's a typo in something that I was doing, because obviously if the game doesn't open, nothing's going to work. So that's kind of dumb. So we could try to figure out, did I actually paste number 5 twice? I thought I pasted this twice. No, it's only right there. Okay. Is there some obvious syntactical problem? Oh, I was missing a comma on number 5. That'll do it. Okay, let's try again. Cool, that comma is everything. There you go. All right, so now if I go back and I try to just place a map, maybe we can just use this map. Cool, so you can see I have number 5 and number 6. And if I click number 5, nothing happens because we didn't do that step yet, right? I can click orc undead, but I can't click number 5 and number 6. However, if I click on human and then I change handicap to 90, it jumps to number 5. So like I said, we have one way, but not the other way, right? That sending from the server to us works. Like this guy, if I set him to orc and then I set him to 90, he jumps to number 6. But I don't have that clicking number 6 jumps him to orc and 90 in the server yet. That's the other part. So that is somewhere in my example. Now, as for where in my example that was, It's been a while. Let's see, handicap to drop down index. Could probably just leave the same. But race ID to race info. I wonder if, I forget what that one does, and it looks like I didn't do much with it in my test, so it'll be interesting to find what that's for later. But in this older one, somewhere there is a function that would be like drop down index to game client race. It would be like the opposite, and I don't immediately see that. Maybe we can search for handicap hack and see if, is that used somewhere else? No, it isn't. Okay, well, I'm just going to search for handicap and see what comes up. Oh yeah, here we go. On handicap selection change. On race selection change. That sounds promising. Let's find that function. Yeah, here we go. All right. On race selection change. What this thing does is, yeah, this looks promising. Okay, cool. Yeah, so on the race drop-down selection change, it will actually set the race and handicap of the game. That's what we want. So we got to find on race selection change. That's the other thing we have to find. Cool. And we need to find the one in quotation marks because there's a couple of them in here. Here we go. Key on race selection change, and then the value is a function. And this is a function that does all this fancy stuff. It logs it, and then it sends a message to the underlying game client to set the race, and then it also doesn't do that other stuff that we want. You can see on handicap selection change after it. So this is where my other hack was carefully modified so that on race selection change would actually change the handicap, which meant that calling set race in the game was more complicated. So here's set race. Basically, we want to copy this set handicap to be after set race. So there's going to be a closed square bracket, and then a curly bracket, and then a parenthesis, and then I'm going to dump this thing after that parenthesis for my other time I figured this out. So let's see, there's a square bracket, and then curly bracket, and then parentheses. So like we said, I am going to dump my change. And this is all, I find that this is much easier if you can format the JavaScript. So obviously that would be what you would want to do, but because that's annoying, right now, I'm just going to put this in here, format it a little bit by hand. Cool. So as you can see, now when we actually choose the dropdown, the act of choosing the dropdown is going to set the race and the handicap value so that, let's see, yeah, basically this used to be setting race ID directly based on the value. Now instead, we're going to say if the value is, here, basically just this race ID part, what we're going to send to the game engine, instead of just the ID, is going to be something different. Oh, that's also interesting. Okay, so we can't actually copy this code directly. That other one I copied will probably break. This magic variable was called F before, it was called P before, now it's called F. So we need it to be the same. We need it to be called F like it was. So you can see I'm deleting this old one that sets it directly, and I'm putting in this new one that says if you've chosen a dropdown greater than 4, then I'm going to send back dropdown -4 to the server. But it's okay because I'm also going to send the set handicap for that dropdown. And so this is where this needs to be an F here because that was wrong. So basically, if E is greater than 4, we'll set the handicap to 1. Otherwise, we're going to set it to 0. So this does mean whenever you change your race, it will always reset your handicap. That's probably okay. So I think that's cool, and that seems promising. And if that doesn't have any typos, we might be able to just try it. It might just start working. But let's try opening BattleNet again. Where'd you go, BattleNet? Here we go. Maybe we did it on the latest patch. Maybe it's that easy. But obviously it helped me that I already had the formatted version of the code to copy out of, where I'd already done the change in the past. So navigating that code to make the change is kind of the frustrating part. Cool, let me just go to Booty Bay. So now you can see I can pick human, I can pick undead, but I can also pick number 5. And I can also pick number 6. And you can see the handicap jumps when I do that. Maybe you'd come up with something fancy to make it say NA on the handicap instead of 90 or 100 or something. But it's definitely, I think, would be doable to hide the handicap. It's just that you can see here visually what we're doing. Where number 5 sets it to 90 and human sets it to 100. And so if you try to do human at 90, you get number 5. And if you try to do number 5 at 100, it goes back to human. Like it's on the server, we haven't added more data, right? We don't control that. But just on the local client, we're just displaying it as though there were more options. So obviously then the other thing you want to do is to basically make it that number 5 is going to spawn some kind of cool custom stuff. So let's say maybe that what we want to do is go in here and rename number 5 to like the Naga, and number 6 to like the corrupted night elf or something like that, right? I mean, these are just examples. Cool. So if you do that, you have Naga and corrupted night elf in there. That's kind of fun, but those aren't going to work until you do the unit spawners, so that picking them actually spawns the right units once you play the game. And so that's a different file. That's the scripts blizzard.j. And so we got to export that to its own folder so we can do the unit spawners. Conveniently, this file is much older on Warcraft 3 and does not have the obfuscation, so editing it will go very, very quickly. In fact, it's quite readable, in my opinion. So if you go to melee starting units night elf, you have here a commented, well-documented, readable function that explains how to make night elf units. And so I'm just going to copy this and make corrupted night elf units. And this is just some examples, so it's probably not going to be exactly what we want as far as corrupted night elf units. But I think if I remember right, NCTL, I think I've done this once before, was the corrupted tree of life for night elf units. And then, do I want to just give them wisps? Do you think we should just give them wisps? We'll give them a corrupted tree of life and wisps, and we'll assume if you had a custom map, maybe you'd give them something other than wisps. I guess we could try to give them corrupted treants, and then they won't be able to build any buildings, so it's kind of a joke, but maybe we don't care. The point of this is not which units you're creating. Lots of people know how to make units, right? The point of this is that it's possible. So let me get, shoot, I think I passed over corrupted treant. I know it's in here, so you probably already saw it go by, and I didn't see it just now. Plague treant, corrupted treant, sure, this thing. What is this? So if I could figure out this thing's unit ID right now, that would be great. What is the unit ID of this? It used to be, Control D would do that, but it doesn't want to do that right now. Let me just launch Object Editor. Yeah, that'll do it. This is my remake of the Object Editor. It's not the real Object Editor. It's a Redder Model Studio utility that exists only in the code. It doesn't have a button for it in the GUI, but I think that if I bring it over, it doesn't want to let me full screen it on this screen. There we go. Yeah, we can search for corrupted treant. That's way better. Okay, great. It's kind of a slow search. Cool, corrupted treant, and then I can Control D to see that that's NENC, so I can go and make NENC over here as my unit to create, which is great. That's useful information. All right, it's repeated. Now you're going to wonder, why is spawning the night elf units repeated twice? The reason is One of them is if there's a nearby gold mine. I don't know if you ever noticed this, but if you're playing melee and there's a nearby gold mine, it spawns the workers between the gold mine and your base. But if there's not a gold mine, it spawns like 5 workers below your base. So there is actually this split in the code for 2 different possibilities. And that's why there's 2 of these to edit. So we did that for Corrupted Night Elf. We probably also want to do that for the Naga. And so if we go back to our thing here, what is that? The Temple of Tides should be the other one. And that is NNTT, and it looks like the Murgal Slave is NMPE. So I don't know for that, do we just copy like human or something? Or maybe even orc. Orc is probably even more like that. They're pretty basic. Cool, so there's a Night Elf function. There's Corrupted Night Elf. Below Corrupted Night Elf, we're gonna copy orc. We're gonna name it Naga. And then I'm gonna say, okay, so instead of Great Hall, what is it, NNTT was the Naga Temple of Tides, and NMPE is the Murgal Slave. Cool. So yeah, I'm just going to put those in there. That's great. We're going to do the same thing a second time for the repeat. Now I have both of those. Here's if you choose random hero mode activated, that would be the hero. You could change that too, but I don't really care about that right now. Great. So now I have these functions. So then the question is, where is this function called? And if you look at that, melee starting units is the behavior for what happens when you're actually starting up. And so basically inside of this, you have melee starting units human, orc, night elf, undead. So let's say that if I play as human, I guess we go back, what is my order? So I put Naga as number 5 and night elf as number 6. So that means Naga is going to be the first one. So basically right here, when I was about to create human units, instead I can say if get player handicap equals, what is it, 0.9? And I think then there were some issues with this before, where maybe it doesn't exactly equal 0.9. So I'm trying to remember, this might not work the first time, because checking if a number exactly equals isn't always the right way to do it. Sometimes you got to get a little fancy with that. Let me see. I used to have a mod that did this. I'm just going to pull up my old mod and see. Archive scripts. I think maybe this file, melee starting units with a bunch of hackery. That's the original, that's that. This would be like my hacked up versions. A lot of custom races. Okay, great, this thing. Index thing, here we go. All right, this function. I guess we're gonna use this value because this got to where you could do 100, or you could do 90, maybe. Yeah, 90, 70, apparently 49 and 51, it's just stupid. But we'll do 90 and 80 for now, so it's less likely to fail. Cool. So apparently what I did then is instead of this, I had a integer index handicap, basically. And so we want to have index handicap is the player's handicap converted. The player handicap BJ is the ease of use version that gives it as a number 90, 100 instead of 0.9, 1.0. So we're going to do that and then turn it to an integer. So I can actually just say if index handicap equals 90, then we're going to call our new function to produce the Naga units. Otherwise we'll produce the human units as before. But also if we do the human units, then we probably also want to say set player handicap 1.0. Basically resetting it back to 100%, or you can also use the ease of use utility function, say set it to 100%, it would mean the same thing. So then we can do on orc and basically say if index handicap is 90, then melee starting units, corrupted night elf, you can see my auto suggest is already bringing it in there for me, that's pretty nice. Else we do the old behavior of orc and set it back to 100. Oh, actually, wait, this is backwards. So you guys are probably thinking, that doesn't make sense what I'm doing. You're right, it doesn't make sense. If the handicap is 90, that's when we set the handicap back to 100, right? You want to have 100% hit points on your units. In fact, just to be sure, let's set it back to 100% before we actually spawn the units, so that all the units are all 100. I'm pretty sure it's retroactive and you don't have to order it like that, but I'm going to order it like that just in case. So now that we did that, maybe if I click play, maybe it'll just work. I'll have a drop down, can pick human to get human units, or Naga to get Naga units. Under the hood, they're both picking human, but what we're doing is just kind of making it work. So let me just go in here and see if it works. Probably Booty Bay is a good one. Oh, script error. Okay, so that's a script error. That means that we have a typo in this file and that we didn't find the typo. So could be a lot of things, you know. Index handicap, index player. So again, I guess the challenge becomes, can we find the script error? What is the script error? A lot of times finding script errors is annoying. Because I don't think there's an error log that just tells you what went wrong. We can look. Maybe Warcraft 3 logs? Is there anything in 2023? Or 3 log? Here we go. Maybe the log will list the script error. But probably not. Okay. Yeah, so usually, historically, the game itself didn't really tell me the errors. A lot of times what I would do is use a third-party program to find the errors, and that's a little bit time-consuming to fire that up and do that. But I'm trying to think if there's any quick way that we could obviously find what the script error is, because it's probably something really obvious, to be honest. You know, like one of these things like missing an else call or a parenthesis or something like that. Index handicap. Index handicap is set down there. All right, let's go ahead and fire up the third-party tools just so I can solve this fast for the video. I don't know if you have this tool, and to be honest, I don't remember where I got it. But what I would do a lot of times to find script errors in a pinch is to literally just run this utility called Jazzcraft, which is a nice little program. We'll see if we can get that to open up. Here we go. Great. So this thing, if you just make a file that is just nothing, it just has function nothing, takes nothing, returns nothing, end function. So you would think that we're checking nothing, but then we actually check the game scripts, like the blizzard.j that has this problem. You can see that there's my like base 2021 version of that file, and then we're going to go and we're going to copy from the one we were just writing. We're going to put that into this program, which is going to let this program give us error messages based on our game script, and it's going to tell us what went wrong. With that in mind, it might also need an updated common.j. I'm not sure. We'll find out. So this is where we're just going to use Jazz syntax check. Cannot convert integer to player, it says on line 9135. So that's really useful when you have something like that. 9135. So it says set player handicap. Oh yeah, okay, so set player handicap needs a player and a number, right? We can't set the handicap to 100 if we don't know whose handicap we're setting. It was an obvious mistake. Okay, great. Now that we fixed that, we can probably have it work. Last time I looked, I think there was a version of Jazzcraft like that on the Hive that you could use to catch the errors like I just did, but the version on the Hive was older than the one that I have. I don't remember whether I got the one that I have. I think I got it more than 10 years ago, and so it would have been somewhere online, but I don't know where. That's up to you if you're going to try to get that, but I think mostly it's just using PJazz. Cool. So now you can see I can pick Human Orc Night Elf Undead Naga or Corrupted Night Elf. So for the sake of example, let's pick Naga, and then we'll see that that works. I should have Naga units in game. Then I'm going to quit out and play again and pick human, so you can see that those two, like option 1 and option 5, even though they're offset 4 from each other, are still working. And it didn't work, so that's interesting too, right? For some reason, it still just did human. So then you got to wonder, why is that? So we know the script loaded, and maybe it's back to where the number isn't exactly 90. You know, maybe the number is 91 or 89. So I guess you could say if it's greater than or equal to 89 and index handicap less than or equal to 91, because sometimes these numbers, there's weird rounding errors and they end up inexact. So that might help, but I'm still skeptical. We'll try it. We'll try it. Oh, wrong button. Okay, great. I also don't know why I have 2 booty bays. Let's play Haro instead. There's only one of them. That way we're sure it's the right map. Yeah, so I just kind of want to try like Naga again and see if that works. Because obviously I think we're close to it working. It says in the loading screen I picked human. The question is, did it actually set my handicap to 90%? Yeah, now it did. Okay, so there was just this rounding error. Cool. So you can see now I have Naga units. And it says I'll be revealed to my opponents unless I build a town hall. But I am able to play as the Naga, so that's kind of fun. So then let's, for the sake of example, now that we fixed it, we worked around that rounding error, let's go ahead and try human. So you can see Naga and human both work. And then we'll try the corrupted night elf and orc. See that both those work. Yeah, there I picked human. Great, that worked. Let me try again here. So that, I'll just create the game again. Now we'll pick corrupted night elf. You can see on the menu screen it thinks I picked orc. We get in the game, and here I have this night elf stuff. That's great. And now let me go back to custom game. And try again and pick orc. And you can see that they're each unique. Cool. Yeah, it worked. So that's pretty much how you do that. If you want to suppress the message about build a town hall or whatever, you can do that too. That one in Reforged, it changed. The older versions of the game was really hard to fix that. But in Reforged, I think you can just do item func and just put units item func, I want to say. And if we do that, let me take a look at this. I'm pretty sure units item func has in here town hall, the dependency of the 4 types of town halls. So we're just going to say that NCTL is a town hall for all intents and purposes, as is NNTT for the Temple of Tides. And I think if we do that, then play again, it's going to now count our Temple of Tides as an official town hall, so you don't have this complaint from the game, which should be cool, because that way you've got your custom race for your custom game. Oh, sorry, not custom game, single player custom game, because it's the client mod. Although you could play it with someone if you gave it to them on their computer, I think, but I'm not sure about that. Cool, just go to Haro again. I'm gonna pick Naga. And then I'm gonna get in the game, and it should be that I don't have that like reveal timer thing about build a town hall or else you're gonna get revealed. Yeah, cool. So that seems to work. And then let's see, what do we got here? I've got spawning grounds going. Maybe what I really want is like alter the depths. So I guess at this point, this is where it would be nice to see, just for fun, if I cheat a little bit and speed up the game and get the units, can we see that if I smash this town, not only do I not have the error message, but it's actually that I don't have the error message because of the Temple of Tides, because the normal melee functions are like honoring the Temple of Tides now, which it should be, so I think this will be fine. Yep, look at that. You will be revealed to your opponents unless you build a town hall. I build the Temple of Tides, boom, you're no longer in danger of being revealed to your opponents. So we've added it to the official lists. So that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much how you do that. That is how you go on Warcraft Reforged and add more races. So yeah, hope you guys have a good one.